Hello and welcome to my channel, You Are the One, where we talk all things law of assumption to help make your manifesting journey easier and more fun. And today we are talking about assumptions and how to know what your assumptions are about something, because sometimes when we are working with our subconscious, we can't see what's in there, and that's where those assumptions are stored. So how do you know what your assumptions are in order to change them? That's what we're doing today. Stick around. My name is Hedley Derenzie, and I am a qualified life coach and author specializing in the law of assumption as originally taught by the great American mystic Neville Goddard. It is the stories that we tell that create our reality. So if you want to change any part of your reality, it's a good idea to know how to change the story first. And if you want to create the most amazing reality, then you need to know how to tell the most amazing stories. And that's where these teachings can really help. And that is why I am here. I want to help you to tell the most amazing stories you can possibly imagine for yourself. If you would like support with that, I am available for coaching. I have a number of coaching options. I also have a free Set Yourself Up with the Ultimate Self-Concept course, which is the ultimate story that you want to be telling. All of that is available from my website, youarethone.com.au, or you'll find the information in the box below this video. And that's pretty much it. So let's get into it. Okay, I just want to start this video by giving a major, massive shout out and thank you to my patrons on Patreon. I don't even know if it's a Patreon or it's a patron, but anyway, my wonderful patrons on Patreon who have generously and kindly supported me in the work that I'm doing. So I just want to say a very special thank you to Julia Prasenko. Thank you so much, Julia. Really appreciate your support. To Nile Glaisel, I'm sorry if I've mispronounced your name. I know we've been in correspondence a little bit. I just want to say thank you as well. To Michael Harper, thank you so much. Fiona and Lady C, thank you so much for your support. And of course, regardless of whether you're financially supporting or just enjoying these videos for free, I just want to thank all of you anyway, because I am very appreciative to be able to do this work and just to offer what I have to offer. And through the vehicle of YouTube in order to do that. So I'm very grateful either way. So I just wanted to say a really big thank you so much for your support. It is greatly appreciated. So we are going to get straight into today's video, which is on how do you know what your assumptions are in a particular topic or a particular area of your life in order to change them. So you want to change your assumptions. But a lot of the assumptions that are running, that are creating our reality right now, are in our subconscious, and they were inherited by us between the ages of 0, so when we're in the womb, to about the ages of 7 and 8. So we weren't even consciously aware of the assumptions we were accepting into the subconscious because we were so young and we were in that subconscious mode where we were just looking out into the external world or making assumptions based on what was happening to us from our external world. Of course, that's the ultimate setup to this amazing experience called life. However, with the law of assumption, we now know that it is the assumptions that we're holding in the subconscious that is creating our reality. So we got to rewrite some of these assumptions, especially if they're unfavorable. But then how do you rewrite an assumption if you don't know what it is? So that's what I wanted to talk about today and make this video, because it is really important that you acknowledge what is going on in order to change it. You can't change something that you can't first name. You gotta name it if you want to change it. So we do have to know what is running in our subconscious in order to rewrite those assumptions. And the question again is, well, how do you do that when you don't know what the hell they are? So let's start at the beginning, which is always where I like to start, and that is that consciousness is the one and only reality. Reality, as you are experiencing it in your wonderful 3D, is a reflection. I know that's crazy because it feels so real, and it is real based on the 5 senses, the sensory information that we're picking up. But it is a reflection of what's going on in consciousness. And what's creating that reflection? It is the assumptions you are holding in your subconscious, because the subconscious is like the movie projector, and it is projecting those assumptions onto the screen of your mind, which is your reality, and then you are experiencing those assumptions in real time, like with your 5 senses, and they feel very real. And then because you're experiencing it in your reality, you think that that's fact, that's the way things are. not realizing it, that they are the way they are because of an assumption that is living and active within you. So, how do you change the assumptions that are in your subconscious when you don't know what they are? Well, the quickest and easiest way to figure out what the hell is going on in your subconscious is to look out into your reality. Your reality is reflecting back your assumptions in each area of your life. Now again, you're not going to know what the assumptions are exactly. So you want to look at each area of your life and ask yourself the question, am I experiencing a favorable or unfavorable reality in this area of my life? So let's take money. That seems to be a lovely topic that we're all working on, or relationships. That's another big one. So let's take money. So look at your reality in terms of money and ask yourself, is my experience of money generally favorable or unfavorable? Now, if it's favorable, excellent. Tick that one. You can move on to the next one because it means you've got some favorable assumptions running that are getting pushed out and reflected back as a favorable reality. So awesome. I mean, it's always good you can always improve. If you want to expand on that story, that's great. But let's work with areas of your life where you are not having a favorable experience, where you're having an unfavorable experience. So let's take it relationships. The area of relationships in your life, if you were to ask yourself, is my relationship, let's say a love relationship, your main character relationship, is my love relationship situation in my reality favorable or unfavorable at the moment? If it's unfavorable, if you're having unfavorable experiences in terms of your relationship in your reality, so your reality is reflecting back unfavorable situations and circumstances in relation to your relationship. Oh man, I'm sure I could have said that a bit simply, but more simply. I could have said that more simply. Fuck. Anyway, if your reality is reflecting back unfavorable situation in your relationship, then that means that you have unfavorable assumptions running in your subconscious about your relationships. But still, that doesn't actually tell us what our assumptions are. So one of the things that I suggest you do is, if you've identified an area in your life which is unfavorable, it does mean you've got unfavorable assumptions running. Now, you don't have to know exactly which ones are in there, but what I would suggest that you do is you write a list of what are all the unfavorable assumptions I can possibly come up with about relationships. Relationships are hard. Relationships are painful. Relationships take way too much work. I never get what I want in relationships. The person always leaves me. Like, just write a list of every possible unfavorable assumption about relationships that you can just possibly think of. Whether or not they're running in your subconscious, you don't need to know. You just need to get that list down and then rewrite every single one of those assumptions to the positive. And if you then remind yourself of those new assumptions on a regular basis, eventually they will be accepted into the subconscious. And that's where you start to rewrite your experience. That's where reality starts to reflect back the new story, because you've actually given it something else to focus on. Because what you've got currently in your subconscious, that's it. That's what's going to get projected out. And if you don't give it another option, so another story, or if you're not commanding it with these other new assumptions, then it's just going to stay with the dominant assumptions that have been there forever. So whether or not you know exactly what assumptions are running, it doesn't matter. But I would say get as many of the negative assumptions about that particular topic out on paper, and then just flip them to the opposite. I mean, it can't hurt by just having a whole list of new assumptions about that particular area, and then remind yourself of those new assumptions regularly, like every day for at least a couple of weeks, like, once or twice a day. You don't have to be obsessive about this, but it's just, you're giving yourself another option. You're giving your subconscious another option. And eventually, if that's the one you're focusing on more dominantly, then eventually it does have to be accepted by the subconscious, and it will get pushed out and reflected back in your reality. So that's the way to change reality that is unfavorable when you don't know the assumptions you're holding in subconscious. That's the way to go about it. I come up with as many possible negative, shitty assumptions in that particular area that I can, because if I've got them all out, then I know that I've got it all covered, and then I'll just rewrite them into the positive. And it's super simple. You just write the opposite, and then I will just remind myself of relationships are safe. Love is easy. Relationships are beautiful, loving experiences. It's like healthy, loving relationships are easy. I'll just write like these new assumptions out, and I will remind myself of that regularly. And then what happens is, as I'm reading that list, I feel good. It feels good in my body. And remember, because I wasn't aware of those negative assumptions that I might have been holding, but my reality will tell me exactly what's going on in terms of the favorability or unfavorability in that particular area. And that's how you know whether you've got negative stories running or positive stories running. And of course, if you've got positive stories running, you can always expand them. Like if you've got, if you're like hitting a money target and you want to expand that target, well, then you got to start with the story that you're telling first, and really look at what's possible. Like, what assumptions are you holding? Do you assume that that's all that you can make? Or do you assume that your earning capacity is limited? And really look at what are the assumptions that might be there, and then break through them by rewriting them and then holding on to them long enough. Remember, you got to be patient, persistent, not giving up too early, long enough for your reality to catch up. And it will. I hope that helps. Please remember, you are the amazing creators of your reality. You are the superstar of your show. You are the producer, the writer, the director, and the actor in your movie. What you assume to be true will be so. So assume the best for you, assume the best for everyone in your movie too, and you will have an amazing life. And this is my wish, my vision, and my prayer for you and for me too. Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like support with anything that I have talked about in this video, you will find the details to contact me in the box below this video or at my website, youaretheone.com.au, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.